Consciously manifesting with parallel realities is for everybody. In fact, it's just simply how we do things. But again, conscious manifesting with parallel realities is for everyone, but maybe not everyone is ready to consciously manifest with parallel realities for three reasons. First, many people are not ready to trust themselves enough to release limiting beliefs that require conscious manifesting in parallel realities. Second, many people are not ready to love and trust themselves enough to let the universe in at those deeper levels. And three, many people are not ready to love themselves enough to be disciplined to practice points one and two. So that is what we're going to talk about. I hope that you'll stick around to find out, what parallel realities are. And I'm going to tell you a few of my stories about how my life has been shifting profoundly through my whole life, but especially lately by embracing the conscious manifestation with parallel realities. So stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. You are selecting billions of times per second parallel realities to make them your physical reality. Now, I'm actually paraphrasing to some extent, or I'm almost getting it just right to the letter of a statement from Bashar, who is a sixth dimensional entity channeled by a man named Darryl Anka. Darryl Anka's actually been on my podcast a couple of times, and he's going to be coming on again soon. Shh, that was a sneak. Don't tell anyone yet, as I say on an open broadcast. So that is the fact that there are actually parallel realities and they are realities. They are just as real as physical reality. They're just existing in a different realm, is one way to talk about it. And the fact that how things become the physical reality are by actually selecting the parallel reality. Any and all of the choices or manifestations that you could possibly create and experience as a physical reality already exist. You see, you are more than your physical body. And anyone who would come to this probably already has a great sense of that. You are more than your physical body. You are more than your physical body because you have experiences that are not occurring physically for you in each moment. In one moment, you could feel love for someone who's not physically present with you, or you could feel fear of an event that either already happened or hasn't occurred yet on your physical timeline. So you see, you are more than your physical body, and you are experiencing so much more than physical reality. And as you are, for example, about to make a choice, turn left, turn right, because you have those thoughts actually create a parallel reality. So the you who has turned right exists, and the you who has turned left exists. One of those may be the one that you choose for your physical reality. So you see, you actually are manifesting by choosing parallel realities. So, the practice that I'm talking about is to go into these parallel realities with a fuller expression of your identity, to identify to these parallel realities, the ones that already exist, whether you've thought them up or someone else has thought them up or the universe has co created them in one sense or another. The situations of the physical world do not limit you. In fact, the situations of the physical world are the end of the line. You are pure energy, pure consciousness, and fundamentally, you are pure starlight. You're pure starlight. It's true. And you know what? Humans are actually composed of stardust. I'm going to throw a little science at you here. That humans are actually made of stardust because most of the elements in our bodies were formed in stars over billions of years ago. The lightest of those elements, such as hydrogen and helium, were produced during what has been called the Big Bang. And, that's still up in the air for scientists, but they were produced billions of years ago. And then the heavier elements, those were produced into stars. They became stars. So we are the same fundamental elements as stars. We have oxygen in our lungs, carbon in our muscles, calcium in our bones, and iron in our blood. And these were all created inside a star before the Earth was born. So you are much, much older than the physical reality in which we are living, in which you do live now. So now we're talking about the physical elements. We're talking about these elements that have composed the physical reality. But of course, the essence is something that actually pre exists. The essence, the soul, the spirit. Once again, the parallel reality, the finer reality, even before the oxygen, the calcium, before the hydrogen and helium that were all formed in stars, even before those were formed in stars as elements, they were an essence. And that is who you are fundamentally. That is who you are most truly. We exist in an interconnected holographic multiverse. Going left, going right, that is existing in parallel realities or parallel universes. And it is interconnected. So while in this reality I turned left, I am still interconnected with the creation of having turned right. That is experience continues to go on. We're getting into what has been called by mystics and I guess maybe metaphysicians Akashic records. Now, let's talk about the Akashic records for a second. The Akashic records, some people actually do when they are visiting them or tapping into them, they kind of see the imagery of books or some kind of file system. Some people actually see it as a computer database. That's just your mind construct being able to tap into it with imagery that suits your particular paradigm or their particular paradigm. But the fact is, it is not something that is so um, concentrated in that way necessarily. It again is something that is more of an essence. It is a data stream. So the Akashic records, very interesting about the Akashic records or these data streams, which actually kind of frees it up from some kind of specificity that might actually limit it in the mind and how you could access it or how you do access it is better said. That these data streams, they are themselves records like stories and narratives that don't have free will. They're just there as potential and they aren't existing with a consciousness or as a consciousness. It's simply just a story. Just as I pick up uh, I can reach something here. This is actually the Soul Blueprint by my friend David Roman. If you want to get your Soul Blueprint, go to Soul. What is it called? Soul Blueprint Art, and you'll be able to get a map of your own human design in a whole different way. At any rate, this is words on paper, right? So this is a record about here it says gate 36. That's my conscious sun. And we're looking at okay, all of this is written, but this is a story. It's a data stream, but it doesn't have a free will. It doesn't have a consciousness living through it. But as I tap into it, I can give it life. I can include this data stream as a part of my free will consciousness stream. So this is a data stream and I am a consciousness stream. That's what the Akashic records can help us to do. And so can parallel realities. Akashic records are really just the data streams of parallel realities, those that are what we would consider past, those that we would consider future, and just others that are potential. But those are all existing. And as we select them, then we make those our physical reality. After we pass through them as an experience, they go into that data stream. And what's beautiful is that entities that are also composed of stars, starlight, star essence, can step into those realities, help to animate them, and help them to be guides and counsels to us. I'm going on a lot of different directions here. I'm downloading right now. I am presenting this data stream to you. So I'm going to pause for a second and say hello to those who are here. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to see you. I want to chat with you all. If you're new here, my name's Tricia Carr. I'm a spiritual teacher and I am, just here to help us all expand our consciousness. Expand, that's the whole point that we are here. The reason we decided to shoot down into this physical reality was to experience an expansion of our consciousness, because that is our contribution. That is our giving to the universe. So, hello, drop me a comment here. Hi, Christine. Nice to see you. Hello, Donna. And this is, oh, I don't see your name with Facebook. You have to like give it permission to see your name. So, thank you so much. It's nice to hear from you. And let's see who else we have. Naomi. Oh, nice to meet you, Naomi. I'm so pleased that you're here, and I hope you find something inspiring or in some way uplifting and expanding of your consciousness. And this is Christine. Hello. Anyone else, if you want to drop a question in, I would love to see how we can open a dialogue and a communion. Tell me where you're. Hi, Nicole. Oh, so nice to see you. I saw you up live on Facebook today while I was passing through. Love you so much. All right. Now, let's get back to talking about those parallel realities. And I'm going to share with you some of my um, some are recent and some are not so recent experiences in traversing the parallel realities or the holographic universe, and doing it consciously and with a fuller identification of the whole self. So, how this happens is, as I said, we exist in an interconnected holographic universe. It is interconnected, and we are here to live a physical life. The evidence is here I am. My higher self made that choice. And so there is a benefit from it. There must be, right? Now, I'll tell you why there must be. Because I like to question everything. I was in the Christian religion when I was very young. It was the only way that I could see before me growing up in Texas at 11 years old to actually pursue spiritual development or spiritual expansion. It was just to go to the church. I lived in, at the time when I started going to church, by the way, my family didn't take me. My family was not going to church. I hitched rides with friends' families. And I took my cute little 11-year-old butt to church by hitching rides with friends. Isn't that silly? I'm calling myself cute because she exists somewhere else. She's not me now. She's existing in a holographic parallel reality. Anyway, so I was in that experience and had a lot of spiritual development, and I was in that from 11 to 19, I would say. I maybe backslid a little bit back into religion. As it's funny to use that word because religion likes to say we backslide away from religion or from God because we let go of religion. But I found myself backsliding into religion because once again, I wanted community. I wanted something as a resource to be able to expand, whether it was community or sacred learning practices, because, as I left the church, I was keeping my practices for myself. I actually consciously said, you know what, I'm leaving behind all of that religion because it isn't helping me anymore. It isn't helping me to feel more connected with the truth of who I am. It isn't helping me to feel connected with what I experience as God or even Jesus Christ, whom I love very much. And the things that were occurring from coming from, the pulpit and everything, and some of the things that were occurring in the communities that I was in, those realities were no longer serving my spiritual development or my consciousness expansion. So as I left, I said, but I own the practices that I have developed in that, which include prayer and, what I didn't call meditation at the time, but it was meditation by sitting in the Holy Spirit. And so I wanted to be in community where people were, doing these same kinds of practices. But again, I didn't know any other place except for church. So I did backslide a little bit, and then, quickly found out again, this isn't suiting what I feel is correct for me. And anyway, the reason that I'm bringing that up is because even while I was sort of really immersed in the religious aspects of my spiritual development, I was questioning everything. And I'll give you one point that I remember questioning or having an epiphany about. I think it was about 15. This is pretty amazing. I think it's amazing. It's an amazing memory for me. But I did have this sort of, when we have epiphanies, I think this is when one of those parallel realities actually slip in a way where we're more in the interbetween of this physical reality and the identification of that holograph or that parallel reality. We're kind of like floating into, if you can imagine the Matrix, you know what I mean? Like we're kind of becoming more of a hologram for a second, and then we go, oh, whoosh, and then we bring it into physical reality. So when I was 15 and I was reading the Bible, I read for the probably 500th time, that quote, Jesus said, I have other sheep who are not of this pen. And in that moment, I blurred into this other reality. And I was like, oh, he's talking about other worlds, other galaxies. He's talking about other entities that don't exist on the earth. He's talking about extra dimensional entities. Maybe he's also talking about angels. Wait, are angels extra dimensional entities? Are they the same? And what it all comes down to is that, yes, it is all the same. We are all composed of starlight and the essence of stars. So as I grasped that reality for a moment at 15 and then came back in, I remember whoever I was hanging out with, I shared it with my companion, and I had never really thought about like, oh, do aliens exist or whatever that question is. It just hadn't, I don't know, just hadn't really come across my mind as something. But I shared it with my friend. I said, oh, he's talking about other worlds. And my friend was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, maybe ETs exist. And it was just kind of like, whatever. She's weird meeting me. So in that moment, I shifted to the parallel reality that became my then physical reality that expanded my consciousness so that I could hold the fullness of it. And I've been on that journey ever since, probably since I was 15. So we are here to live the physical life, but it is not necessary to always be immersed in the illusion, in the limitation, the perceived limitations, and the density of being physical only. Because what is what is greater than your physical reality and your physical body, again, what informs it, what creates the form of it, is actually your astral body. Or think of astral means the essence of stars, the essence of your star qualities. So each of us is actually jumping from one parallel reality to another with every choice that we make. We just don't always recall that we were in different parallel realities, and therefore we don't always anchor it in. Now what I mean by that is that we know that we go into sleep, right? And we dream and we astral travel. We identify more fully with our astral or our star essence, our soul, we might call. And this identification, while we put our bodies to sleep, and then our soul is freed to travel while we have a silver cord to the physical body, travel on that journey of the holographic realities. The reason that we don't always recall all of the things that we're doing, and I'm not talking about just regular dreams, those we remember for a reason. I'm talking about the full occupation in the star reality, in your astral reality. The reason is because there is an intermediary between these holographic parallel realities, and it is your mind. And we have different dimensions of the mind. We have higher mind, and then we have the middle mind, and we have the physical mind, which we might call the ego or the primal mind. And so the higher mind, when it sort of disconnects from these other layers of mind so that it can fully bring it in, and then it's always like gathering these experiences. And when we open up little portals through meditation and prayer, maybe they come in, a little bit can trickle down. But the thing is that we can take most of our identity, all like keeping mind awake while body is asleep, and bring all of our mind to these realities so that they fully anchor in. And the shift and the change is like that. So I'm going to share with you I'm going to share with you just a few of my experiences. But first, again, I want to check in with you guys. I'm having the best time, so I'm glad that you guys are here. I want to see what you guys are doing. And Christine said, "Hi, Anna." Christine says she's from upstate New York. How do I jump to a reality I want to be? Wonderful question. I'm going to take a sip. Whew, I'm having so much fun with y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Christine wants to know how to jump to a reality that I want to be, and then goes on to say, with a specific person. This is such a great question. It's something that I've actually been working on with a client of mine. So the client I'm not going to share this person's identity, although I may have them on the podcast sometime whenever they're ready. But I will just say a few things. This person is also in the experience of fundamentally, first raising their consciousness, right? Raising their conscious awareness, moving up that consciousness scale. That's first, that's primary. But also in the physical world, there is a specific person that this person would like to be in union with. So we've been working together about 6 months, I think, something like that. And there was something really interesting that shifted for this person. One of the things that I was helping this person with is, because I use it in all my work, is their human design. So, human design, if you haven't looked at your human design, I'm not going to go too deep into that right now, but I might talk about it later. But I will say that this person was not utilizing their strategy and authority. And, the concept of human design was new as we started to work together. And we got down to this one point finally where there were a few smaller instances, one that actually did directly correlate to this other person with whom they wanted to be in union. But there were three, and even this one with the person, small little things, small things. And I was able to coach this person to use their authority in those interactions. Again, I'm obscuring the reality, but because of conditioning, that was a big leap for the person. We tend to be conditioned away from our inner authority. So for an emotional authority, or excuse me, I should say strategy and authority. We really, I should digress. This person was using their strategy. So for a generator, your strategy is to respond, and you get conditioned out of that maybe you either need to wait around for an invitation, or that you need to initiate and inform, when in fact you're somewhere in there with life shows you things and you respond to it. A manifester is here to inform, and in that informing of others initiates. And but see, these things, they get conditioned out of it, like a person being conditioned out of informing because, oh, I don't want to seem like, a bitch or a jerk or whatever it is if I just, inform. That's the conditioning that person has received. So this person, in three small instances, used their actual strategy, their correct strategy for themselves, and like, okay, I did it, that kind of thing. Life started changing really powerfully. Now, all of this is happening on this 3D level, but it is, again, attuning that intermediary between what is happening here, how you're releasing the limiting beliefs that will facilitate then you being able to pick that parallel reality that you can then, as you channel it, if you will, as you welcome it in, you can fit it in your whole being then, right? Because we have to, if you think about, well, the shoe doesn't fit because it's too small. Well, it's too small because the limiting beliefs are taking up some of that space. So when this person used their strategy, then a new, fresh communion with that other person actually began. And this person feels completely at ease about it. Yeah, it's cool. It's great. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep setting my boundaries and using my strategy and authority in this situation. But you know what? I'm flexible. I'm good. So it's that coming really to be able to facilitate it. This is all a path of self-love. To be able to love yourself enough, trust yourself enough from the boots on the ground level to be able to let go of limiting beliefs and then welcome in those parallel realities. I hope that's helpful. I don't know. It's probably good for a lot of us. Anna says, you said the Akashic records don't have free will, but they are changeable or malleable by our own free will. Are they changeable or malleable? So the think about the Akashic records specifically. They themselves are stories, right? So of course, as we contribute to them, then that story changes. We are the essence of free will because we are active as a consciousness. The Akashic records are like narratives that have occurred. They don't have consciousness. You watched a movie, and as you interact and you experience the movie, and then you start to take the content from the movie and then you start to live it out in the life, maybe it inspired you, then yes, you are adding, maybe you have a conversation about it, you're creating things around it. But that data stream of the original movie is the same, right? It already occurred. It is plastic. It isn't, well, no, excuse me. it's malleable in the sense that it comes into your reality and then you shift and change it. You can add to it. Does that help? Right. So it's really the records are data streams. So when someone taps into that data stream, there can be there can be things that are there that have shown us patterns and the pattern that's going on. And then we go, oh, I want to shift that pattern. If that pattern is continuing to happen, how can I interact with it in a way? What must I be learning? What we usually are learning is how to love and trust ourselves. And what form am I learning to love and trust myself more to release that pattern and the limiting beliefs that are embedded in it? And then that's how we can actually change the Akashic records. We add to them. Yeah. But the thing is, too, when we shift to a parallel reality, we do shift the data streams in forward and back of us. So let's say we are choosing parallel realities to create our physical reality. We're choosing those parallel realities billions of times per second. Let's say some people go like, oh, what happens if we shift to 5D? And then what happens to all the other people who don't shift to 5D? Well, maybe that has happened already. We don't recall them because we are fully that other entity. And that's a very like hyperbolic explanation, but just to give us the idea. What if technically speaking, yesterday I was a different person? I mean, time and physical reality and the way that things are moving those are subject to our consciousness. Our consciousness is not subject to physical reality. Physical reality is subject to our consciousness. And so how do we kind of have memory of parallel realities while also have that dynamic experience of being able to co-occupy the fullness of what we could be and what we are. When I say what we could be, what we hold in our physical mind awareness. Well, that's what I was going to share with you is things like remote viewing, telepathy, astral traveling. Astral traveling and astral projection in the sense of you doing it consciously, intentionally, so that the mind is open to keeping those experiences. I don't know if you're like me and you love to watch or listen to the different stories about people having near death experiences. So, when people have near death experiences, they go into the holographic reality, they go to the other side, they see spirit guides, they talk about what the life has been, and then, they choose to come back. Well, if they're telling the story, they chose to come back, right? And so, that is an example of out of body experiencing. It is an astral traveling, and there's like some nuances people kind of call OBEs, unintentional, and astral projection intentional. And it's this just semantics. You can, and a lot of people make them synonymous, but the near death experience, out of body experiences have to do with the perception that they're no longer going to exist in or with physical reality because of something that has happened to the physical body. And I'll tell you something else that breaks those bonds for a temporary amount of time: psychedelics or plant medications. But these two things, near death experiences and plant medications, are not sustainable. Definitely the near death experience isn't sustainable. Plant medication is more sustainable because it doesn't almost kill you, but it's not something you could do every day or even every week. And also utilizing the portals that are provided by psychedelics or other kinds of plant medicinals aren't as manageable. Like you don't have as much mastery over them because you've shifted a lever that kind of puts you on a ride. Now you have some, you definitely do, and I know if you are someone who is a psychedelic medicinal practitioner, I'm definitely not putting it down because that is a really beneficial path for some people. However, even so, you can access these portals and these parallel realities with the fullness of your being without needing to compromise your body or your brain or to utilize a substance or a chemical of some kind to create a chemical trigger to it in your physical reality body. And so I'm gonna look at your comments again now. Does that help, Anna? Excuse me. I just got over COVID about a week ago. I'm going to mute myself for. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, Brandy says, can you access the Akashic records for anything about yourself or for otherworldly things as well? Absolutely. You absolutely can. And in a beyond even just accessing the Akashic records, you can fully be present to these otherworldly or other, what did you say, or something else about yourself by using your astral body to be in the experience. So I want to share a few of my experiences. The amazing thing about being able to utilize the astral traveling capacity that you already have. And actually, before I do that, I do want to share in the comments something that I would really love for you guys to check out. And it is Astral Mastery, which is the ultimate intuitive expansion program. I'm just going to leave it there and I'll maybe talk about it here in a little bit more. So, I want to share with you some of the stories, some of the fantastic things that occur. So, I actually, as I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have been experiencing different kinds of astral events my entire life, which I said even includes things like getting downloads or epiphanies. These kinds of things are, again, slipping between the realities and having your identity co occupy a parallel reality to be in that holographic reality in a more dynamic way that is more, it feels so powerful and it comes in so strong because it is sort of a quickened way. It's almost like a quantum leap in that moment. It's a quantum reality is being infused into you, but to do that you have to diffuse of your physical reality to a certain degree, anchor a little more with your whole identity into your astral reality, and then shift it back in. And I think that's why it feels like a download, or it feels like a whew, that kind of experience. So, one of the ways that astral travel occurs, well, astral travel occurs in sleep and dreams. It just does. And then the thing is, though, sometimes without you consciously setting an intention, you will have an astral projection or an astral experience that you are fully present to. And so one of my astral projections, one of the huge benefits of using your astral body to fully occupy parallel realities and then bring them back to your physical and anchor them into the physical reality. One of the major things is that you actually lose the fear of death. And I mean fully lose it. Whereas we might intellectually be like, oh, you know what? I have the awareness and the belief that the soul is eternal. I mean, it just makes sense to me, and love is eternal. There's some other kind of confrontation that happens when you are doing astral traveling. And so here's what one of I had two major ones that helped me to release the fear of death. And one was the fear of dying, actually. That was a greater fear for me because of, yeah, having this paradigm within me already existing that the soul goes on, but the dying aspect of it, the pain, the fear, the who I leave behind, all of that kind of stuff. That was something that was removed from me as a fear, a limiting belief that I was able to let go of. So I'll tell you what the scenario was. This occurred through sleep. So there's a very gentle way for this to happen when you are sleeping. And so a lot of these experiences may happen that way. And you can set up the intention for this kind of work, including, lucid dreaming and whatnot. Lucid dreaming and astral traveling are different things, but and I digress. Back to my story. So in the event, and it was an astral event, I was on a bus and we were traveling around some kind of, like mountain or a big hill. And off the side of it was the ocean. And so the bus actually jumped off the cliff of the road, jumped off the road cliff thing. And we plunged into the ocean. And so it's that moment that you've seen in movies and TV where the vehicle is in the water, and yeah, the water is starting to come in. And in this moment, I spoke to spirit, I spoke to the universe. I said, I accept if this is it. And if this is it, May I please have no pain? And I mean physical or the emotional pain of fear. And I heard, felt, experienced, whatever you want to call it, absolutely. And then it was like, okay, and counting down 10, 9, 8. And it was like darkness, like the powering down kind of energy. And it wasn't scary. And I wasn't worried. And it was like 3, 2, 1. I woke up. And I didn't have any fear and I didn't have any pain. So, I mean, it was amazing. I'm just telling you a story, but it is as if it happened. And so now I don't need to fear or worry because it was demonstrated to me as an event that it isn't something that I need to be concerned about. And again, it's one of these things that are ineffable. But it is a part of my truth now. My truth, my reality is that I don't need to fear the passing through of death. The other time was I didn't actually have the death experience. The astral event opened up where I was my light body, my astral body was walking out of the ocean because I had died in the ocean and I just walked out of the ocean. And and it was interesting because I didn't remember in the astral event, it was, like, blocked from my memory, my loved ones. I didn't remember my husband, I didn't remember my animals, I didn't remember the people in my physical life. And so I was in this reality, perfectly peaceful, and I had the awareness, the light is gonna come, and then I will cross over. And then I was walking around and I got a little bored because no one else could see me. I went into my neighbor's house and they couldn't see me. And the reason I went into my neighbor's house was because I was like, well, I can go talk to their dog and I can go talk. See, I didn't go to my house because I was blocking the memory of my loved ones so I wouldn't panic or fear. And I went and I was like, I could go talk to her dog and also I could talk to the stones. And, that'll pass some time while I'm waiting for the light to come. And then I awoke from that, and what I dealt with was the fact that that one of the things that makes me worry or fear death to some degree is who I leave behind. And if you're a parent, I think it's a normal, natural experience for you to fear that. It's a healthy fear. But if we can leave the healthy fear to its health and let go of everything else, that's what I kind of experienced in that astral event, was to be able to just let the universe unfold and that everything is happening as it is meant to happen. So then there was this other one that happened very recently, and this was an intentional astral traveling event. So I had some very cool things happening by locating where I was going and looking at a friend's house, and I was seeing sort of the some of the physical reality, but they're so the holographic reality and the physical reality are enmeshed. And so I was seeing some of the physical reality, and so there's a kind of remote viewing, happening there, but I was there physically, and I hadn't been to my friend's house yet, and then I reported to my friend, "Is there this? Is there that? Is there this?" And there were, like, 4 things that were spot on, and then what anyway, that was really interesting. So while I was doing these different experiments, I then had an astral projection where, this is really fantastic. I was at a party, and I was at a party at someone's house and my husband was there too somewhere else in the house, but I wasn't enjoying myself. It wasn't my kind of party. It wasn't my kind of party in any way. And so I wanted to get out of the noisy area, and then I went into the kitchen with the host, and the host is like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." And these aren't people that are in my physical reality, but I seem to have been friends with them or acquaintances at least. So then the host left the kitchen. I was in there by myself. The doorbell rang and I went to open the door. I didn't look through the peephole. I just opened the door. And it was a very scary person, all covered in black with just the eyes exposed, but the eyes looked very black and everything else like wearing all black, very, very threatening. I slammed the door closed. I ran into the kitchen and I closed myself behind this pantry. It was a very flimsy door. And I had like a coffee mug in my hand, a real heavy one. But It was just a coffee mug, and I was holding the door closed, I was holding my breath, and the very flimsy door had these you could see through it, and so I thought, "Okay, this person's gonna come in, they'll probably go toward the noise first, and if they do, then I can escape, call for help." And so I set up a decoy, basically. So I was in the kitchen, but you know what? This person, I'm gonna say he, went into the kitchen first and was quiet and was, like, scanning, but he was scanning with these lights that were kind of blue and green, and so it was like flashlights, but they were blue and green, and then I could see them because this door was really flimsy, and then they came across the door, and they were scanning to find me, and so I was holding the door closed, I had my coffee mug, and I thought, "Maybe this coffee mug is a weapon?" And I was like, "It's definitely not a weapon." It's nothing. And I also don't know how to I'm not trained in physical combat. And so I was just like, "Okay." Another one of these moments of if this is happening, then, I surrender to it and let's see what happens. Well, then I came back to my physical body and I wasn't afraid though. But when I sat up and I closed my eyes and I took a breath and I wasn't afraid. My nervous system was regulated, but I could still see the lights. I was awake, but I was seeing the holographic reality, the parallel reality of someone scanning for me. And so you might be thinking that sounds like a negative experience. It's really not, because then I sat in meditation about it and I realized what this one was about was why was I at that party? I didn't want to be there. Why did I open a door without seeing who was there? Why was I even in that situation when I didn't want to be? So it helped me to make choices of self-love and trust and to move in the ways that are correct for me. Because if I don't, I could leave myself vulnerable to someone else, the door being open to someone that I don't want to interact with. And it was very powerful. Now, I was protected because I made the choice at the right time to not be there anymore. I mean, after the fact, after. So these are really and I tell you, even though that sounds like a really scary situation, I actually wasn't scared. So once again, confronting fears about being physically harmed or being victimized. This one was really about being victimized. The other things that have been happening since I've been deepening my practice of my astral experiencing is I have been able to hear the celestial music. I don't know if you've heard about people talk about this. It's something that happens sometimes. I'm hearing not now. It's usually when I'm going in and out of my practices, meaning I'm going into actually, I'm listening to frequencies, which my husband is creating, which are so amazing. And the frequencies that are curated to create brainwave entrainment to allow my physical body to relax so I can, better match the astral body and then have those experiences. And then when I come fully conscious for a few moments, I can hear as if it's with my physical ears. One time, the first time it happened, I thought, oh, is my phone going off? Where's my phone? I can hear celestial music. It's a very quiet music. And it's amazing because it's again, it's not actually my physical, your physical senses are created as filters to filter out seeing psychic realities or, the holographic realities. But when you're bridging those gaps, then it negates the physical senses. So it's just showing how I'm more in and I was just like, "Okay, I'm not fully back in my body. I'm ready for the celestial music to quiet down. I'm ready for it to be my physical reality because that's important too." Anyway, there's other things I'm going to I'll just tell you one more. So, this one is not an astral travel as much as it is using my consciousness to communicate telepathically and to allow my consciousness to remote view into an area. And this actually happened several years ago, but it sticks out to me really big. And that was I was working on something really important to me, a collaboration. And I needed someone who was someone that I don't really have a contact with, like a higher up in some company or something like that for this collaboration, this person needed to see this cold email. Like they don't know who I am. So I went into meditation and respectfully and completely ethically um, traveled to be able to have my consciousness with higher self to higher self of this other person. And I just requested, if it's in the highest good, I would like to suggest that you find this email. And I thought the thought, I saw it, and then I interacted with it. So here's something to, I want you to write this down: TSI, think, see, interact. This is a way that we actually do create our realities. We're thinking into existence a hologram. We're thinking a parallel reality. We see it, and then we interact with it. So I thought I, made an invitation across, respectfully without crossing any boundaries, just kind of like as if I was again in the celestial or in the higher realms sending an email. I was sending a energetic message. And I saw the email in the inbox of this person. And then I pointed to it and I put a light around it and I imagined that clicking on it to open it and read it. About 10 minutes later, that person responded. It was wild. So, anyway, this is some of the work that, I mean, these are just my personal experiences, but I do a lot of this work with my clients and students as well. All right, I'm going to get back to you now. Let's talk about, hi, Stephanie. What are you doing here? That's the only worry I have about transitioning, leaving my kids and the sadness and grief if they will. I know, I know. And again, that is healthy, right? We have healthy fears. So, what we want to do is allow that healthy fear to be as it is and to even let it be an emblem of our love and our connection, and then see if we can move forward anyway. That's it's just a that we aren't here to have no fear. We just aren't. In fact, fear is healthy in some respects. Fear keeps us from jumping off of cliffs, right? So that's the point, to navigate that. We have a trust in ourselves, and we also have a trust sort of in higher self, who is making the choice about something as deterministic as your death. There's not an accident about that. Our free will is, you know, dimensional as well. Higher self has to sign off on things like your birth and your death. Those are determined. They're deterministic experiences for this through line of a physical experience. So finding trust in yourself to be like, of course, it is a beautiful fear to not want to leave behind my children and my loved ones. That's beautiful. I accept that. And I love myself for it. Higher self, you can help me with the rest of it. I hope that helps. Here's the thing. Life isn't about, avoiding fear or pain. It's and enlightenment isn't about being free of fear and pain or anything that's mundane. In fact, I don't know who said it, but enlightenment is completely mundane, because being able to be in this conscious manifestation through selecting parallel realities helps you to love this life even more. It isn't a fact of escaping this life. It's actually a fact of occupying it more fully while also occupying more than just this physical life. It's really amazing. Oh gosh, again, you could look this up, but sorry, I can't attribute, but I know that there's also this phrase that after enlightenment, it's the dishes or something along those lines, or everybody wants enlightenment, but nobody wants to help mom with the dishes, all of that kind of stuff. It makes this reality, this physical reality, more robust, delicious, and illumined for us. Because transcendence, transcendence isn't going around. That's bypassing. Transcendence is going through. And Stephanie, who just commented, about going through things. You're such a powerful being. I love you so much. Oh, is that? Oh, paradox fossils, seeing into the realms beyond the veil. Exactly. And then being able to know and have the veil be there whenever you like. It's very cool. Hey, Victoria. This is all very much what I have been experiencing and getting downloads on lately since out of my body. Yes, Victoria, I know, because you shared that with me. And see, I don't want to share too much of your story, but of course, you shared it with me. You experienced it by a physical trigger. So if we can experience something that is by a conscious trigger or a conscious manifestation of it, or when we do, it's sustainable and it's something that we can master. So I told you the synchronicity of you sharing that with me, because I should share with you now astral mastery. Okay, so hi Cher, this was something I needed to hear. I have been resisting a lot of pain and uncertainty. Oh, and you know what? And resistance, as we know, resistance what we resist persists. When we're having those experiences, if it's possible, lovingly tell yourself it's okay to have pain sometimes. It's lovingly okay. Tell yourself lovingly, it's okay to have uncertainty. That's human. And what happens then is that you become your own coach or you become your own divine parent and you start to soften about around it. And of course, nothing is constant except change. So that's my something that I have found to be very beneficial. Even if I'm worrying, it's okay to worry. I'm human. That's all right. You can worry. And as soon as I do that, I let myself worry. I'm like, oh, the worry is actually starting to leave me. It's pretty amazing. All right. So I want to share with you all. Oh my gosh, there's so many of you here. Thank you for being here with me. I want to share with you all a little bit about this. It's a program, but it's so much more than that. It is the Ultimate Intuitive Expansion Program. So this is what I'm calling Astral Mastery. I'm going to put this here. What this is, it's a very, very affordable program that has a couple of ways that you can engage with it, either more passive or more fully active, where you'll be getting coaching and practice opportunities. We're going to lay the foundation of the intuitive abilities and intuition. And many people, I've trained hundreds of people at this point. It's open for those people who are experienced as well, because we're going to go in and set those foundations and open and expand all of these areas. And it's also perfect for those of you who are just interested in being able to have that fuller sense of your intuition and your intuitive abilities in your life, wherever you are in your life. So it's, again, for all levels, if you will. And in addition to that, we're going to be letting go of limiting beliefs. Like, I can't even tell you what's going on in this program is so much. So we're going to lay that foundation. We're also going to be talking about human design. Now, human design is an experiment. A lot of people, as they start to look into human design, they're like, it's too much, it's so much. I don't even know where to go. It's not something you can just learn, as we've been conditioned to try to memorize and learn things. It's something to experience. And so that's what will be deepening, is the experience of your human design experiment, whether, again, you've started it or not. You do need your birth time in order to be able to have your proper human design body graph, just so you know, as a side note. But the reason for that too is because this has been something that has been so powerfully shifting. So what human design has is 4 ancient observational sciences and 1 modern science: quantum physics, and then astrology, I Ching, chakra system, and Kabbalah. And so these ancient observational sciences, we have been mapping this on our planet for all of this time. And then we add this modern quantum physics, which has only been around about 100 years. And together we have this full picture of who we are as a spiritual being having a physical experience. This helps us to release limiting beliefs, what we tend to call conditioning. And then we have more room inside ourselves to welcome in these parallel realities. As I told you the story, if you were here earlier, about that one client of mine who, after several months of getting up the courage and to decondition and release limiting beliefs, used the strategy as is in the human design, and just in 3 small instances, and the life shifted very powerfully. In the like a couple of weeks, things went boom, 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 started to change. So human design is going to be a major part of it. And then the other part of it, this is going to be a 6-month journey. And honestly, this is just level 1, because we're going to be releasing these limiting beliefs, deconditioning, having phenomenal experiences, and then we're going to get into that parallel reality, what I'm calling astral exploration, to be able to dynamically live as a spiritual being having a human experience. I had a spiritual awakening a few months ago, honestly. Again, I had a spiritual awakening 10 years ago, and I've had you have mini ones all the time. But the fact is, this program is to help you to stay in a growth mindset about every aspect of your physical and spiritual life, your universal consciousness. That's what this program is for. And the reason it's a 6-month program is so that we can do it right. And it is very affordable. I tell you this because other group coaching or educational programs, cost at least 10 times this much. I did it on purpose because it's not only about being in this program for 6 months, it's for people, like there's so many of us that I know who want to be and continue, because I'm never stopping learning. So if I've made it to where you could continue to stay in the program through levels 1 and 2 and continue to interact and engage in it, and to be able to contribute that resource of time and money to yourself, that is also putting your step down in this physical reality and decreeing to the universe that you are worth it. Now, I opened the segment talking about who is ready to be able to consciously manifest with parallel realities. And honestly, I want to say it about this program too, because this program is designed for everyone. However, there are people who are not ready for this program, and it's for 3 reasons. First, many people are not ready to trust themselves enough to release limiting beliefs. It's true. Second, many people are not ready to love and trust themselves enough to let the universe in those very deep levels. And 3, many people are not ready to love themselves enough to be able to be disciplined with those practice points 1 and 2. When I mean disciplined, I mean to dedicate the fact that your life can revolve around your consciousness expansion or your spiritual development. And that's okay, because we are all at different parts of our path. Definitely been at a part of my path where I wasn't ready for it. My path of loving and trusting myself enough, I needed to get there in my own timing. So I just wanted to highlight that for us all. Now, let me see what else is going on in the chat here. I really want you to check it out. Oh, I should say also, it starts the week of May 6th, but we're starting with our bonus meetings right now, where we're going to be setting intentions. We're going to meet every week. Everything can be listened in replay. If you want to join the full coaching aspect of it, the full coaching happens twice per month on a Sunday. I would recommend that you check if you can come to at least most of those. But there's also the way where you can have everything, where you can show up to the meetings just like this and interact on the feed, and as opposed to coming face to face on the video meeting, but you get to observe that. So I just think it's really great. Have a look at it. There's a breakdown of some of the curriculum points, the frequently asked questions. Read all of those, because they really help us to understand the intention we're setting around it. So Astral Mastery, this is the ultimate, um, I want to say it again, Astral Mastery, the ultimate intuitive expansion, human design, and astral exploration program. I made it for you guys, and I can't wait to be in it with you. Join now. Oh, also, there's an early bird price. So you want to do that. You could do 6-month payments. You could pay all at once and get that early bird price. There's a lot of dynamic ways that you can be involved, and I hope to see you there. All right, let me see what Cher has to say. Tears just left my face, seriously feeling light after that. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Oh, wonderful. And Booyah says, my son passed away last year, and I was like, how am I going to be able to communicate with him? Well, I started soul scripting, and I've had so much success. I was able to talk to him, my guides, and family. Bless you. By the way, I said Booyah because that's the name on the screen, y'all. I didn't say like Booyah, my son passed away. That's the screen name. So thank you for sharing and how strong and how powerful you are. That is the hardest thing to pass in this life, isn't it? To survive your child. And I'm an animal freak, and it's very, very hard. It's almost as hard, but it's natural for us to survive our animals who have shorter lifespans than ours. I don't have children, and I know that is the hardest possible challenge that a human being can face. So blessings to you, and congratulations for being able to find that soul scripting. I'm going to clear my throat. Anna, can you say a few things about the difference between the two options? Is it basically the live coaching? It is basically the live coaching. However, Anna, so I call it observer and experiencer. So thank you for asking, Anna. So I just want to break it down. The experiencer, so what we have is we're having class on, it's going to be happening on Wednesdays at 4 Pacific, and they're about 3 hours long. Now the class is teaching, meditation, and your Q&A, and that's live, but you can listen to and watch all of that in replay, get the same benefits. So if you can't make it on those live classes, you absolutely can pace it out through your week, and you can submit your questions in advance. There's going to be a Facebook community that goes with it, so you also have that opportunity. And I will say, while we have the live class that's going to be anchored on that 3 hour slot on Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing additional ones. I'm going to be going live and doing Q&As, not additional classes, although, teaching comes out when we're doing Q&As. So those will be more spontaneous. They'll be scheduled, but not necessarily, maybe a week in advance, maybe just a couple of days in advance, so that they can be a little more randomized and people can have more options. But those are like bonuses. So that's why I don't really have them listed on the page. We're going to see how those flow. So there's that. And that's for everyone. Now, and that's for the observer. Then we have the twice per month coaching that is happening on Sundays, and that's 10 to 12 Pacific. Now, if you are in the full, you get to be there, you get to practice your intuitive abilities with one another, and you also get coaching from me. See, that's the full experience. That's what you get, all of that. If you wanted to do the observer version of it, you still get to watch those. You don't get to show up live and be in them. However, I will say we will be asking the people who are in the program as the observers, the more passive option, we'll be asking them to show up to receive readings, but you won't be there to be able to practice your readings. And, you won't be there to be able to receive coaching, hot seat coaching and everything, but you get to watch them. And so basically, it's like, such a high value because you guys are probably like me. You probably watch Abraham Hicks videos, or maybe you watch Bashar videos. You watch these videos where there is a teacher who is actually answering someone else's question. And even if they're asking a personal question, you're like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that. So if you did that more passive version, the observer, I call it, you still get to watch all of those sessions. You even get to watch them live. You just don't participate in them, except for every now and again if you show up to receive a reading, you know what I mean? Like to be a part of the class in that way. So those are the differences. There's a lot of benefit. There's a, full hands-on face-to-face benefit by being the full experiencer, because you can ask the questions on the Wednesday night classes. You can ask those face-to-face as well, or you can ask on the chat feed. Either way. So does that help? Does that make sense? Let me know if I need to clarify it more. Excuse me. And I made it so that it was, again, high value and easy access, and a couple of options. Because you guys know, many of you know me from when I worked and was the co-founder of Light Shine, and we had things like the Intuitive Intensive. And I noticed that a lot of people took it really passively, and not, well, I don't know if a lot, but I saw that. And so they weren't really at the place where they wanted to, or felt benefit of doing the practice, but they had growth in their way. So that's why I made that an option for people, so that you can, you know, you can do it however it is that you're ready, because it's all and there's still so much interaction, there's so much service in the observer option. But I do recommend the experiencer option, and you can still go at your own pace. You can still be coached however you like. You're not going to be compelled or forced to practice intuitive readings if that's not what you want. But there's a lot there. So all right. What does Cher say? Giddy up. I've missed your teachings. Oh, I love you, Cher. You flip switches, spit diamonds, and fluff my wings. I'm looking forward to this, especially the hypnosis and guided meditation. Thank you for mentioning that, Cher. This is first of all, I have to screenshot that and put it somewhere, Cher. Can I please? Because it's so awesome. One of my most favorite testimonials, someone said, Tricia is Yoda or a unicorn. I don't know. She's really magical. And I'm like, that's my favorite review ever. I humbly accept. So yes, we are going to, the way that we create those portals, the way that we release limiting beliefs, And the way that we create the portals to be able to access and channel in parallel realities is by the modality of hypnosis, aka meditation, aka spiritual practice. I mean, all of these things fall under the umbrella of hypnosis. Hypnosis is shifting from one state to another. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I have a degree in clinical hypnotherapy and mind body psychology. Oh, we're also going to be a big part of this is obviously anchoring all it into the physical reality. We're going to be going through shamanic manifestation practices. It's going to be a big part of it. And another big part of it is I am partnering with my husband to create the binaural beats and frequency soundscapes to be able to entrain the brain to be able to shift in those different states. So this is what has been a major asset for me in this current spiritual awakening is utilizing frequency technologies. It just works. What's really cool is you're actually using the physical in order to shift to the spiritual. Because if we're using sound, which is an element that is somewhere between physical and the element of essence or aether, that we actually are asking the brain, which is a physical instrument, to shift to be able to free it up. So it is in a way like using psychedelics, like plant medicine, but it is, again, sustainable because it doesn't actually turn a switch on that you can't turn off. It is it's a natural it's actually a natural process. It's just asking your brain and your consciousness to shift very naturally in a very sustainable way without giving it a foreign element because sound isn't foreign to us. Sound is natural, right? Anyway, that's bomb. So if you've heard of the Monroe Institute, Robert Monroe, or the Gateway Experience, I'm not saying that we're doing that. That would be wrong for me to say it's all trademarked because we're doing stuff like that and much more. Because that was created in the 60s and 70s, and I did the full Gateway Experience several times in order to entrain myself, and then I started to collaborate with my husband, and so these technologies that is bridging the gap, the being able to yeah, what they're showing me is like it's being able to create the thinning of the veil in a very powerful way, but also sustainable. Okay, that's what I'll say about it. Thank you for bringing it up. I'm super excited about it. And then, of course, we have a lot of it. That's going to be the more advanced side of it by using, well, we'll be using some, my husband always creates the soundscapes, the music and the sound design for anything that I'm doing. But yes, I will be, major part of it is me guiding meditations and hypnosis. And I'm going to be teaching you how to do self-hypnosis so that you can do things like heal your body, uh, lose weight. I've lost like 25 pounds a couple of times. And I've healed things. I don't know if you heard me tell this story. I had 80% hearing loss in one ear for about 5 weeks. And then before I could get a doctor's appointment, and the doctor told me it was permanent. And I first found out what the physical manifestation of what was going on from what he told me was happening. And then I went in to a deeper trance and I connected with my higher self and simply asked, is it in my highest good for me to have this hearing loss? Is this a part of my path, my highest path? And the answer was no. And got to the place where I was completely neutral. If I got a yes, I'd be like, okay, perfect. I would have been like, okay, perfect. Then I don't have to resist it anymore. It's here for me. But I got to know it wasn't necessary. And I didn't need to have it. So then I took that information along with my skills as a hypnotherapist, and I just started to give my body the correct suggestions so that it could correct it. And it was like the very next day, the first day I did it, when I woke up the next day, it was like 50% better. And I didn't even say anything to my husband because I was like, I'm gonna wait. And then on the next day, I was like, I finally did. I was like, I think my hearing's completely restored. So I had seen the doctor on Thursday where he did an emergency hearing test and told me that I had 80% permanent hearing loss in my right ear, by the way. And so that was Thursday. And then he wanted to do another, no, excuse me, he didn't do a hearing loss. He did the emergency hearing test for Monday. That's what it was. So then I showed up on Monday for the hearing test, and it was completely improved. Not only that, but I tested better than the last time I had a hearing test, which was like 6 years ago, and that's not what happens historically with hearing with age, it gets better. So, you know what I mean? Like, some really amazing things. So it's again accepting this physical reality. If it had been in my highest good for me to have hearing loss, then I would have moved on with my life with joy and acceptance and being able to use it for what it was here for me for. So anyway, it is miraculous. Cher said it's miraculous. All right. Gosh, we've been on for a while, but I have been like just buzzing with you guys. So I'm going to tell you once more about astral mastery. Actually, I'm going to share the page with you. I want to tell you that, excuse me. I want to tell you that, here it is. All right. So here's the page. And look, there's this double me back there. Here's the page, and I'm going to change my background so it doesn't look so confusing. There we go. That's a little better. All right. So what we have here is, again, it's the Ultimate Intuitive Expansion Human Design and Astral Exploration Program. We have the different ways that it starts on May 6th, but we're doing intention setting meetings now. You can jumpstart your progress. We also, if you sign up for the full program, we already have replays of past coaching. We have a student portal that you will be signed up for the Sacred Sphere, which is the twice per month coaching. So you already have content in there that you can start to dive into. Human design experiment, shamanic manifestation, astral exploration, intuition and intuitive psychic skills development, of course, and the guided meditation hypnotic journeying and the frequency binaural brainwave entrainment technologies. So under astral exploration, we're talking about astral projection, telepathy, remote viewing, and the intuitive dreaming. And then what else? Some of these things. Oh, so this is what we're talking about, our astral awakening experience, astral pertaining to or proceeding from the stars. And so this program is for the people who are ready to, you know, continue to remember that we are composed of stars. And that's basically with the spiritual awakening that occurred on September 27th, 2023. Spirit woke me up saying, if you don't have a growth mindset, you will hit a downward spiral. And I could see that that was happening in my personal physical life. And after I started to work on that a little bit more, by the way, and I'm a spiritual teacher, I have my clients, I'm doing my meditation, I'm doing my self healing, but it was not really in a growth mindset. It was a sort of status quo, you know what I mean? And so, anyway, that's so we have the experiencer, which is the one I told you is the full program, and you have an early bird price, $100 off if you register before April 19th. Then we have the observer, and you have a $50 off. Now, those are for the one-time payments, but you can do 6 payments. Also, you might qualify for afterpay by doing the one-time payment where you can get that early bird coupon price. And then as I noticed it at checkout, for the people that can qualify for afterpay, it can bring your monthly payments down for the full program to like $96 or something like that. That's totally up to you. It's not something I'm in control of. It has to do with, the payment gateways. So anyway, this is it, and I'm so excited about it. Here is the place where we're exploring some of the curriculum, so go read through all of that stuff. And then we have, oh, this is the other thing I want to share with you guys. I put this in here very coyly. This is the flagship program for my new school called Wayshower University. And this is the mission statement talking about why now and what is the mission of Wayshower University. And so yeah. All right, I'm going to stop sharing now, and that's where we are. Any other questions? Anything you'd like? Oh, I love you guys so much. Thinking of it gives you the tingles. Well, this has been so fun. Let me look at my notes and see what else we want to say about parallel realities and how we manifest with parallel realities, whether we are conscious of it or not. But that is really and truly the process of miraculously manifesting. And we can live a lifestyle of miracles while also living a human lifestyle. Will we be complete? I want to tell you this. Will we be without challenges? No. Will we be without pain? No. Will we be without, moments where we're not our best self? No. But what if all of those things of life that were mundane or challenging, that we could also be observing them from empowerment and joy and excitement, knowing that they were only there to serve us, and then to quickly do things like be able to l live interdimensionally right now. Now, I'll tell you this too, a part of the spiritual awakening was really working with my spirit guides in new ways, to where I'm telling you, like, ways where it's just like having a friend that can tell me, "Yes, no, maybe, do this," and I'm like, "Wait, why should I do that?" They're like, "Hey, it's easy to hear us, but it's not easy to take our advice," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll just trust and take your advice," and then something really cool happened that helped me to honestly, like, offload a bunch of limiting beliefs, heal a lot of things that are like core wounds. This is a part of the program as well, and it's part of what I've been experiencing. And our spirit guides are really those parallel realities. They are their astral expressions of what is coming in as the streams from our Akashic records, or our future preferred realities that we would like to experience. And honestly, again, we are stars, and every other entity in this universe are composed of stars. It it's just come to my awareness that angels are really just starlight that are having a free will experience, helping us, of course, when we interact with them. And then so are other star beings, like ones who are what we call extraterrestrial. I don't prefer that. I like to say extra dimensional beings, which are ones that any of our higher benevolent guides and friends that we could have operate in our lives. So they help us to occupy these parallel realities and then bring them into our life too. So, what else did I want to say? Just that living this physical life as the game that it is, and I don't mean that to diminish it at all, but to be able to see it as a game, as a story that we're here to create in order for us to actually feel free while we're in it, and that we're to feel powerful in the sense that we are creators and we are contributing to this beautiful universe, loving it even more than ever, and also being of service to others while having ourselves be served as well. It is really a path of self-love and self-trust. And that's what transcendence is. Transcendence is to go through an experience, to then be able to shatter past beliefs and limitations and past pain and core wounds, shatter those patterns forever. And that's what I am here to experience with you. So, what else here? Oh, the name is perfect. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Cher. Well, you know, it was something that I was kind of guided into, I guess. Let me see. Are there any other comments here that I missed? Well, I love you guys so much. So once again, check it out. It's Astral Mastery. You could just go to my website, Tricia Carr Charm. I'm sure it's in I think I put it in the description here. And I just am so grateful to be here with you. And I'm excited to be more closely working with you in your journey and the journey that we're co-creating together. By the way, all of it to make this human race in this planet more beautiful. Well, the planet's already as beautiful as it can be. In the second portion of this, we're going to be taking some opportunities for anyone who's interested. We're going to be taking some more exploration into our animal and nature healing and communication. That'll be the second 6-month program. So, all right, that's what I have for you guys. I love you so much. Thanks for being here. I had the best time talking with you. And, I hope to be seeing you very soon. Have a beautiful day.